Naija YouTube channel. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate all of my subscribers. If you are new to my channel, you are highly and very welcome. And if you have not subscribed already, please subscribe, like my video, and then share my video. Hit on that notification bell just beside to get an update when next I upload a new video. Today, actually, I'm going to be showing you how to cut there's this Beyonce shoulder ruffled dress. So you can see the picture up here. It's really trendy. So that's just what I'm going to be showing you how to cut. It's really simple and easy. We're going to be cutting and then stitching. Okay, so I have my my fabric folded into two for the back and then the front piece. So I just left 1 inch allowance for my back piece that I'm going to be using as my zipper allowance. So I have some couple of lines. The first line I'm going to be using is my shoulder line, and then my bust line, my waist line, this is my hip line, and then my full length and measurement. So these measurements are just applicable as they are: 10 inches, 17 inches, 27 inches, and then 41 inch. So I'm just going to be inserting the base. This is just like a basic dress. So I have my fabric folded into two. So this is the front piece and then this is the back piece. I'm going to be cutting them separately. So I'm going to be making use of my bodice and sloper. So I'm going to put the link down on the description box if you want to know how to do this bodice sloper. It really helps a lot for making dresses like this. So I'm just going to place it like this and then I'm going to cut it out with my measurement. So I have all of my lines, my bust line, my waistline, and my hip line. So I'm just going to use this to cut it out now. So I'm cutting out the front alone. So you can see the shape of my dress down. So that is why I said you really need a sloper like this. So it actually helps a lot. So with this, I'm just going to place this on the back piece and then I'll cut out the back piece. So I don't really need to use my sloper again. I'm just going to place this and then I'll cut out the back piece. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to cut out the neckline. So it's going to be a high neckline, like an halter neck or a high neck line. So I'm going to be making use of 3 inches width. I'll make use of the regular 3 inches width, and then the depth that I'm going to use, I'm going to make use of 2 inches and depth. That's for the front neckline. I'm going to make use of 2 inches. So I'm just going to cut it, measure it out like this. So when I'm fixing the top, the small collar, if it's too small, I can still extend it a little bit. So I'm just going to come like this to the back point like this and just follow my regular point, and then for the back one I'll use 1.5, that's 1.5 inches. I'm just going to mark it like this. So I'm going to cut them out. Like I said, it's really not difficult. For a beginner, you can pull this off. So I've already added my shoulder slants when I was cutting. So this is that. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm just going to cut out, I'm not going to be putting lining on this dress. So I'm just going to join my shoulder together. You know the neckline, since I'm going to be putting a collar, so I'm not turning it, I'm not putting any interfacing. So with the essence, the only thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to join my shoulder line together. I'll join my shoulder line and then I'll shape my dress. So that's what we're going to do that first. I'll join my shoulder line, shape my dress before we come back, and before I will be able to measure how much ruffles I'm going to need, because the ruffle is going to run from the back all through the shoulders. So I'm just going to couple it and then come back and cut out the ruffles and the sleeve for you to see. So I'll open up the back piece. Okay, so guys, so I have my dress laid out. So I've coupled it, I've joined the side, and then this is the neckline, and then I've measured out my shoulder measurement. The next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to cut out the sleeve. I'm going to be doing a tier sleeve. That's what I'm going to do. The sleeve is going to be 3 flare layers on 3 places. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to use my sleeve pattern to cut out my basic and long sleeve. I'm going to extend the length because I'm going to be cutting it and to be attaching my flare. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to place it like this, and then I'll increase the length of my sleeve. I'm going to increase it by about I'll make it 25 inches. I'm going to make it 25 inches because I'm going to be cutting and be adding. So I'm going to show you how to do this. So I'll cut it out now. So I'm going to put notches on where I'm going to be cutting. So the first cut I'm going to cut on this top part. That's just after my bicep. I'm going to cut the first one here, the second one, and then the third one. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'll leave that first. The next thing, because I'm trying to manage my fabric, I don't want to, I'll do them according to how important. So the next thing, I'm going to make the ruffles that I'm going to be putting on my shoulder line. I'm going to mark it out now. So what I have here, I'm going to use my entire shoulder measurement for the dart, which is 17 inches. So I'm just going to double this. I'm going to double it. So I have 34 inches now. 34 inches, but I'm still going to double it. I'm going to add to it because I'm going to be pleating it. So I'm just going to, okay, let me say my 17 inches, I'm going to times it by 4. So let's just make it that way so it will be better. So I'm going to times my 17 inches by 4. So that's how much ruffle I'm going to make out and I'm going to use. And my ruffle, I'm going to make it really simple. I'm going to cut it in a flare form. So that's just how I'm going to cut it. So I'll fold my fabric and then I'm going to cut. I'll cut one piece and then cut the other piece. I'll join them together. So I'm going to determine how you determine how long you want it to be. So it depends on you how long you actually want it to be. Because my fabric is not very long, I'm going to be cutting it. I'm sure I'm going to be cutting it 4 times. So you can see my fabric. I'm sure I'll cut it like 4 times. Then I'll join them together. So I'm just going to try to measure. I don't want to waste my fabrics. So the width that I'm going to use for my ruffle, I'm just going to measure from my shoulder line like this. I'm going to make use of about 6 inches. So I want it to, the depth to be about like this. I want it a little bit big. So as I go along, if I have any alteration, I'm going to do. So I'm going to make use of 6 inches. I'm just trying to get out a flare. I have not actually measured. So I'm just trying to get one piece first. That's what I'm going to use to work with the other. So I'm going to measure out the 6 inches and then I'll cut out. So I'm going to cut it out from this point first and then check. So guys, so you can see what I have. So in case I don't want to pleat it, it's just going to be like this. So if I didn't want to pleat it, this would have been enough for me to do the first one. But since I'm going to be pleating it, like I said, I'm going to increase it. So I think I'm going to reduce it. I'm not going to do 4. So what I'm going to do now, for this 17 inches, I'm going to cut out another 2 and then I'll join them together. So that's what I'm going to do. Initially I said I was going to make 4, but now I'll make 2 more. So I'm going to make 3. It's okay because what I came up with, I liked it. So I'm just going to measure. I'm just going to place this and then cut out the other 2 on my fabric. So I finished cutting out the ruffles for my dress. So I'm going to keep it on the side. Okay guys, so I've joined my flare together, the flares that I cut. So I've joined them together so you could see it's looking beautiful. Even if you don't want to pleat it, it's already looking it's already having layers. So I'm just going to show you now how to connect it. And there was something that actually I forgot to tell you initially. It depends on where you want the cut. That's where you want to attach your flounce to. So that is what will determine how much. So for instance, you can see what I'm putting on. I had to change my dress. We'll be able to illustrate this better for you. For instance, if you want the cut to come from like this point, so you notice that normally my shoulder, this is supposed to be my shoulder line, but this dress is a little bit extended. So when making your dress, it depends. If you want your ruffles to be straight directly on your shoulder line like this, you could decide to use your direct and shoulder measurement. But if you want it to come like this, like from this point, so you could just measure with your tape how long from your shoulder. It could be 2 inches or 1.5, and then you determine how deep you want the ruffles to come. So that is what you will use to measure out. So that's for that. So now I have my own measurement here. I have 17 inches here, which is appropriate for me. So the next thing I'm going to use now, so you are going to determine how you want the ruffles to be. If you want them to be on top of your bust, if you want them to be on top of your chest, so you just determine that. So mine, I think I'm going to want it to be on my chest line. That is like about 8 inches. 8 inches is okay for me. So I'm just going to come to this point like this. I'll measure 8 inches. This is my 8 inches mark, and then this is my 8 inches on this side. So I'm going to curve it. Okay, so this is my 8 inches line. I'm just trying to connect it together with this one for the front, and then I'll turn the back and repeat the same process with the back. So the next thing I'm going to do, I have my mark straightened out. I'm going to try and curve it up to this point. So I'm just going to take my pattern curve like this from my shoulder line like this. I'm going to curve it like this. I want it to come like this. So I'm leaving just a tiny bit of an inch. That is where I'm going to connect. That's where what I'm going to use to connect my shoulder, my sleeve to my shoulder. So I'm going to come to this point like this. I'm going to create a curve to this point like this. So I'm just trying to create, so it depends on how so I'm going to come to this point, to this part also, and I'll use the same measurement from the same line, from this point like this. I'll make another curve like this. So from this down point now, my chest line, I'm going to take it a little bit down by ½ an inch. So this is the ½ inch. So this ½ inch, I'm going to use it to create a curve down here. So at the end of the day, so you see what I have now. So this is where I'm going to stitch my ruffles now, like this around here, and then I'll still have this inch left. That's where I'm going to connect my shoulder line. So this whole process now that I did, I'm going to repeat it at the back side also. Okay guys, so you could see, so I finished tracing out the back part. So in order for you to fix this flounce or ruffles, whatever you choose to call it, on this dress, for it to be easy for you, that you don't have any problem, you remember the zipper allowance and stitch, you have to open it up. So you see I've opened up my zipper allowance from the top to the down. So with this now, I have my dress straightened out like this. So you could see how easy it's going to be for me to fix this ruffles now on my dress. So it's going to really be easy. I'm not going to be having any problem. So I'm just going to start stitching like this. From this zipper allowance point, I'm just going to follow this line like this. You see what I'm going to do? I'm going to follow it like this, follow it like this, like this. I'll just start stitching. When I get to this point, I'll follow my line because I've already made the line like this, and then I'll come to the back. Then before I stitch the back. So I'm going to take it to my machine and go and do that. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to stitch it. Okay, so I'm going to start stitching like this because at the end of the day it's going to be like this. So I'm going to take from this side. So I'm going to start stitching now. So you turn it like this. So you can decide to pleat if you want to add tiny pleats to it to make it more fuller. You can decide to do that. So I'm just going to follow my line that I made. That's the mark that I made. That's what I'm stitching on. Okay guys, so you could see I finished stitching it. So I just stitched it along the line just as I made it on the fabric, so you could see it. So you could decide to line yours, you could decide to make yours fuller, so it depends on what you actually want. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to stitch it back on from the back, the zipper allowance side. I'm going to cover it back, fix my zipper, then I'll come and show you how to do the sleeve. Okay, so guys, so now for the sleeve I'm going to cut out my round flare that I'm going to attach to it. So I'm using 5 inches, like I said. So I have the second one. So I've not cut out the radius yet. So I'm going to cut out the third one. Okay guys, so I have my 3 flares that I'm going to be using for this and 3 tier sleeve now. So the next thing you are going to do, you are going to shape your sleeve to your exact and sleeve measurement. That we are going to shape it out to my exact and sleeve measurement before we are going to cut it out. So I'm going to take my sleeve measurements now, all of my round sleeve measurements, that's from the top to the bottom, and then I'm going to bring it back and then cut it. So with that it will be easier for you to get your radius properly. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, so I finished stitching my sleeves, so I'm going to cut them out now. So the first place I'm using, so you could determine, this is applicable to change, so you can decide to choose where you are going to cut your tiered sleeve from. So I'll cut the first one here at 8, 1, 2, 3, 4 inches difference. I'll cut at 12 and a half. Why 12 and a half? Because when I stitch it will return back to 12. So I'll cut the other one at 12 and a half. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 and a half difference. 1, 2, 3, 4 and a half difference. So I'm going to cut the last one here. So I'm just going to take and cut them like this. You have to be very careful so you don't misplace them. So I have my sleeve, so you could see it's cut into 3 now. So the next thing I'm going to take now, I'm going to attach one of my flare to each of them. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to cut out the radius of this and circle that I have here. I'm going to cut it to fit into this measurement. So I'm just going to measure what I have here and then use it to open up my radius. So that's what I'm going to do now. So the first one I have 6, and this is folded into 4, which is 12. So what I need now on this point, I need 3 inches. So that is what I'm going to cut open that will fit into this point here. I'm just going to, because I don't want to stitch it, so I have to be very careful at what I'm cutting. I have to be very, very careful. So you see what I have now. You see, it fits perfectly in. So I'm going to attach this here like this. I'm just going to take one piece. I'm going to attach it like this. I'll attach it. After attaching it like this, I'm going to join this one back. That's after attaching my flare, I'm going to attach it round, and then I'll take one piece of this and then join it back on this. So you see it covers it back, and then I'm going to cut the second flare. Now I'm going to cut this open to fit into this measurement, and then I'm going to attach it also, and then I'll put this back, and then the last one here, I'm going to attach this one to the tips. So that's just simple. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So I'm going to do the last one. So that's just it, and then join them together and then couple it, and then I'll come back and show you the final look of the dress. Okay guys, so I decided to switch things up a little bit. So I decided to change the other two layers of my dress with a different Ankara fabric, and for the neck collar I'm going to be using the same Ankara for the neck collar. So what I'm going to be doing, I just made straight straps, so you could decide to use any length of your choice because I'm going to be tying it. So what I'm going to do now, from the zipper allowance point, I'm just going to take this like this, and I'm going to attach it I'm just going to attach it straight like this, and then when I get to the middle I'm going to stop, and then take the second one also, and I'll fix from this point also, and then when I get to the front, this point here, the middle, I'm going to stop and then stitch both of them together, and then I'm going to have something like this. It should look like this at the end of the day. So with this I can decide to just drop it, or I could decide to tie it just to make a bow. So that's just basically what I'm going to do. So I'll go and fix them and then put it on my mannequin for you to see the final look of this dress. Okay guys, so this is the final look of our dress, our Beyonce inspired dress. So guys, it came out really fine. So look at the sleeve. So it really came out so well. So look at the neck bow I was talking about. It's just simple. Just make a strap and just attach it, and then this is our flounce. So you could decide to line it, like I said. You could decide to do that. So guys, so I'm so happy with the outcome of the dress. So I've now come to the end of this video. If you find it helpful, please do not hesitate to like this video, and if you actually made yours using this video illustration, please share. I would appreciate if you would share a picture with your stylish naija sewing group on Facebook. I would really love that. So thank you so much guys. I'll see you in my next video.